There is not a season in this life that lasts forever. And I like to say to stay planted. It's to stay planted, keep your roots in the ground. So sometimes we're gonna look really good in the summer and our leaves are green and we flourishing. Sometimes we in fall and we look different, we talking different, we don't recognize who we see. And then you could be in a season of winter where I was at and I lost everything. Every leaf falls off the tree in winter and you look dead, but your roots are still in the ground. And I think if you stay planted, spring comes around every year. And what happens to a tree every year when spring comes around? You grow another ring and you get stronger. So I think when you go through all seasons of life and you stay planted, you'll come back on top of it bigger than you ever could have imagined.
Face it, you do not look away when challenges come. You don't blame yourself if at that moment in time you are not able to face it. The only thing you're gonna do is you step back, you take time for yourself, you invest the work and prepare yourself to return.
You gotta be tough. You fall down, what do you say? Oh, I'm gonna go home now? No, you get up and try again. You will rub dirt and you get up and you go again. Oh, you got hurt? Cool, keep going. Oh, you got dinged up? Cool, keep going. You don't say I'm tired.
I think you gotta stop waiting for someone to come along and root for you. You've gotta do that for yourself. And if you get lucky, you'll find a few people who really believe in you. But if your plan relies on luck to succeed, it's not a plan, it's a bet. And if you're gonna bet, then you might as well bet on you, not them.
People always say, man, how do you handle failure, man? I fail a lot, dude. I don't look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I look at them as attempts. I don't look at anything as failure. Because when you're going to try to do something, not trying is failure.
You know where you want to go. You need your compelling future. You need to keep pushing forward, and you can't expect others to get your dreams because they weren't downloaded in them. They were downloaded in you. And the last thing I'll say about this is stop waiting for permission.
Walk, always walk. Walk with no goal, no destination, no timeline. Walk alone, walk with silence. Walk the long way. Walk when you don't know what to do next. Because somehow, walking shows you exactly where to go.
What do you want to be in life? And once you do that, now you can work with somebody to get better. You can work with yourself to get better. But until you know what you want to stand for, you will always just be sitting down. You'll never stand for anything.
The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason you are stressed is that you have decisions to make and you're not making them.
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. And I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready.
Confidence, at the heart of confidence, is action. It's the willingness to try. And all you need is to know that if you try, you're not gonna die. You're just gonna learn something. And when you learn something, it removes a little bit of the insecurity so that it makes it slightly easier to try again.
When you feel the highest pressure, the highest stress, and the highest anxiety when you're in the pursuit of something greater, it's a good indication that you're actually on the right path. It's a position that you want to actually be in, because once you push through this time of extreme stress, pressure, and anxiety, on the other side is the fucking promised land that you've been looking for.
You have to believe that this moment is preparing you for something amazing that hasn't happened yet. Keep going. I repeated that over and over and over and over and over again as I wanted to throw in the towel, as I would start to bash myself, as I would start to feel sorry for myself and be like, nope, there's just no way I'm gonna believe that something amazing isn't gonna happen. I've worked too hard. Something amazing that hasn't happened is coming.
You got to keep working. Your time's going to come. Trust me. You got to work. Your time is going to happen. You're here for a reason, but you got to be ready, because if you're not, it's on you.
I have a saying, interested people watch obsessed people change the world. You can't be interested and you can't be obsessed. Interested is a hobby. Kobe Bryant was not interested in winning championships. He was obsessed. And obsession comes in the small details that nobody pays attention to.
And whatever you do is not about the outcome, but in whatever you do, you have to work. And whatever you do, it's gonna be sacrifice. And whatever you do, you have to be committed. And whatever you do, you have to compete, right? And whatever you do, you build that through whatever you do and you honor that.
This life is relentless. You better keep coming back from all your failures, all your doubts. You better keep fighting, keep getting up. If you've been broken once, you know how that shit feels. That means try and break me again. One thing in life, suffering has no expiration date. It will keep coming after you.
I now see anything is possible and that you could train for anything. There's nothing you can't do. You can't be the best in the world at something, but you can be a lot better than you are at anything you want to put the time into learning, whatever it is. You could do anything. And that's great. Even more so, I now know anything is possible at any time, just if you have to do the work.
So, here you are in a valley, looking up at that seemingly impossible mountain you want so badly to scale, wondering whether you can do it, wondering whether it's even possible to make that climb. Maybe you don't feel like you know enough to even start, or maybe you don't feel like you have the right equipment, or the right support, or enough experience, or enough will for that matter. Maybe you're tempted to tell yourself again that you'll start tomorrow. Here's the thing. Tomorrow is gonna come. There's no question about that. Tomorrow will, without a doubt, dawn as it always has. And the worst, the saddest thing that could possibly happen is for you to be in the same place tomorrow as you are today. When tomorrow comes, you'll either be in the same spot you are right now, right here, or you will have taken a step.
Stay down too long. Don't you waste your life in them dark rooms by yourself. Don't do it.
Success comes from taking chances. Taking chances involves failure. It keeps you alert. It keeps you from being complacent. It keeps you from being soft mentally and emotionally.
You can never lose faith. That's the key. You have to believe in something that you can't see. You have to believe when you don't see no way how. You have to buckle down and keep believing.
You gotta find your why, and your why is what's gonna start you. And so for a lot of you, you're not doing nothing because you don't have any purpose right now. You don't have a sense of purpose. You're not waking up for nobody. And I need you to get that engine. I need that drive.
Every one of my successes is stacked on top of failures. Failure is just another peg in the ladder for me to go higher. And some of you in this room today, you need to change your mind because some of you are thinking about giving up because you're in a season of failure. But just because you failed doesn't mean that God doesn't have a bright future in store for you. It is always too soon to quit.
You gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. And if you want it that bad, if you're willing to give it that much, you get a big piece of what you want. And dreams do come true. Anything you want can happen and become a reality. I believe that sincerely, and I'll die on that thought.
Judge yourself by your actions, not by your thoughts. I became significantly less disappointed in myself. when I started judging myself only on the actions I took, not the thoughts I had.
Good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. Strong people create good times.
I know it's tough. Life is not free of hurdles. How you deal with it makes you so much stronger. So my message is, we help each other. The harder it gets, the more we stick together. You are never alone. And I know there will be difficulties, and I know it will be hard, and everything will feel like I can't anymore. In that moment, go for it, be brave, don't give up. Keep going.
Don't really let anybody take away that dream from you. Nurture it, water it like you water the flowers. Even if you find only one person in this world that will accept, embrace, and support your dreams, find that person and dream big, because you can make it.
You will at some point fall. And when you do, I want you to know this, remember this, there is no such thing as failure. Failure is just life trying to move us in another direction. Now, when you're down there in the hole, it looks like failure. And when you're down in the hole, when that moment comes, it's really okay to feel bad for a little while. Give yourself time to mourn what you think you may have lost. But then, here's the key. Learn from every mistake.
Go on the journey by yourself. It is the best journey, man. Leveling up, becoming the best version of yourself is the most awesomest journey you will ever go on. But it's a journey that you will probably go on by yourself. Most people will not understand the level of obsession required. They will not understand the level of drive and determination that it takes for you to become that person.
Passion, action, noble intention creates progress.
So I want to ask you, can you admit something in your life that you don't feel like you deserve or have earned? Can you admit a goal or a dream that you want to chase, but you're feeling like, nah, I can't fly that high. I'm not equipped. I don't really have the ability. I'm not qualified. Can you admit something in your life that guilt is keeping you from getting? Can you admit something that you don't want to start, continue, or finish? Say it aloud to yourself. Write it down. Confess.
And I think as a human, sometimes you feel like you always got to wait for the right time, what makes sense to you to actually start executing, to actually stop making excuses, to doing the things that you always really wanted to do. You know, I'm guilty of that. I'm starting to find myself now being like, nah, there is no right time to do anything. You just got to start doing.
Just keep banging on, you know, that's the most important. I think keep your head down. Like when I swim, 25 laps, guaranteed if I look up and start counting those laps, I'm petered out by 15. If I put my head down and keep working away and work at technique, work at internal rhythm, work at, I hit that length, I don't even know what length I'm on, guarantee you I'll look up and it'll be 20 and 2 more, 3 more to go. And that's a very simple device, but I think people find themselves incrementally checking how far they've got. And that, you know, when you compare it to anybody else or whatever, it's just it's a recipe for disaster.
The most powerful weapon in the world, we walk around with it. It's our mind, it's our brain. You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are, what you want to do, what's your purpose. We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we're even born or whatever, because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you.
Find out what you're good at, what you have an aptitude for. Do you like history? Do you like math? Do you like artwork? Do you like music? You find out what you have a natural inclination towards. You find out what you're good at. And then you figure out how to help other people with that thing that you're good at. And once you figure that out, that's purpose.
The key to being successful in life is knowing what you want to do. Once you know who you are and you know exactly what it is you want to do, you get up every day and you grind until you get it.
Don't worry about making mistakes. Mistakes happen to everybody. Everybody makes a mistake. You're not special because you make a mistake. There's no big deal to making a mistake. It's all in the recovery. It's all in the recovery. Most people don't recover from a mistake. If you want to differentiate yourself, get the blessing of the lesson, get up and move on.
If life was nothing but green lights and we didn't have yellows or reds, things that make us pause, hardships, crises, times for introspection, then what the hell would it all be for? We need the yellows and the reds. That's how we evolve. That's how hopefully there's some ascension to our being. That's how we give some credit to time and growing older. If we were the same person today that we were 20 years ago, then what the hell are we doing?
It all starts with who you are. Who you are is more important than what you do, because who you are is your character. And your character is an accumulation of your thoughts, your habits, and your priorities on a day-to-day basis, because those three things determine the choices you make, and the choices you make you who you are.
What the caterpillar calls death, the world calls a butterfly. And that's just so. In the pursuit of the person that we're supposed to become, those dreams, those ambitions, that elevated mentality, that version of who we're supposed to be, we must let an old version of us die. See, a caterpillar with wings can't fly. It must change its body. It must let its wings expand. It must go through a metamorphosis, a process of preparation, so that the transformation into a butterfly is possible. And it's painful, and you'll feel confined, and it will be uncomfortable. But all of that is necessary so that when the day comes, you can spread your wings and show the world how beautiful you are.
Champions find a way to make it happen. No matter how long it takes, they find a way. Don't be ashamed to say you're nervous, but find a way to get over it.
You thought you was just gonna have a dream and a goal, and you was just gonna wake up and just walk into the sunset. It don't work like that. You have a dream, and then life punks you. Life punks you and say, do you really want this? It's a part of it, but I paid too much. My greatest moments didn't come from my greatest moments. My greatest moments came from my greatest defeats, because it was during my defeat that I had to find a way to get back up.
Your job in life, my job in life, is to step out of our comfort zone. It is to step out of our comfort zone because we know that staying in our comfort zone is going to hurt. It's going to create a lot of regret. It's going to create a lot of missed experiences, a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of missed love, a lot of missed finance.
Take a step every day in the direction that you want to be in, because what that creates is a habit. You got to reverse engineer your life. You got to. That's part of the process, and that's what's going to mold you into the person that can sustain everything that you're trying to build. If it came to you overnight, you wouldn't know what to do with it.
If it came to you through some trial and tribulation, you're gonna understand the work it takes to maintain it, and it's gonna stay. Without risk, there's no reward. It doesn't work any other way.
The hardest thing in life, guys, isn't doing this stuff. Isn't going past your current levels of comfort, hitting new levels. That's not the hard part of life. The hard part of life is when you don't have the time to do this anymore, and you didn't achieve everything you wanted to do. And you look back when you're like, knowing there were pockets throughout your existence where you could have applied yourself. Now all that's left is you in a self-arrest, self-paralysis state, thinking, wow, I could have been great.
And there won't be anything to stop you. The ground won't restrict you. You'll have the freedom to go wherever you please. Share the message that you're meant to share. But you must go through that prerequisite of a transformation, letting the old you die so that the new you can come forward.
Life is not here to make you suffer. This life is here to make you understand what is your potential. But in this lifetime, there is something else for you to achieve. Discover your potential. Maybe there is something bigger that you can become.
Is never the right time, but the stars are never going to align. You have to just decide, I'm making a change, and do it, and roll the dice and bet on yourself. It's the only way to do it. Almost like the only way to learn how to swim is to jump in the water and figure it out on the fly.
Sun don't stop for nobody, man. Sun don't stop. Sun gonna be up in the morning regardless. That sun is gonna be up in the morning regardless of how I fucking feel. The sun is gonna shine in the morning. And at nighttime, the moon gonna be there. And you're gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by.
There can be no growth without goals. If you are going in the precise right direction, regardless of how quickly or slowly, you're always making progress. If you're not going in the right direction very quickly, you can actually push yourself further away from the goal to ultimately want. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Never make a decision when you're in the valley. Always remember that. Never make a light decision when you're in the valley. Because oftentimes, when we're at our lowest, we go through adversity, opposition, and something is tough, we make a permanent decision over temporary condition. Never make a permanent decision when you're in the valley.
There is no one on this earth who is like you. You're the only person who can do what you do, who has lived your life, has internalized your experience, and that song in your heart belongs to you and you alone. And hold that very dear, because it's precious, and every voice is worth hearing. So whatever story you have, whatever you want to say, keep it close and hold it dear and stay true, and you'll be fine.
That happiness and success is available for every last one of you. But I'm gonna tell you what you're gonna have to do. You gotta change your mindset. If you're planning on being successful, you have to change this here. The difference between successful people and non-successful people is right here. It ain't no difference. It ain't none. I ain't got no more than none of y'all got. God gave me the same thing he gave y'all. But you have got to change your mindset.
If you want to become the best version of who you are supposed to be, risk is required. Period.
Whatever success means to you, properly define it, but always look at it in terms of, do I love what I do? Do I know what I'm doing? If opposition and adversity happens, will I still believe in what I'm doing? Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Can you be committed to it in the midst of opposition, in the midst of adversity? Because if you can be committed to it in the midst of opposition, in the midst of adversity, now you can believe in it. So when it goes wrong and it doesn't play in your favor, you can still believe in what you're doing and you're not gonna run. Love what you're doing. Know what you're doing. But above all, believe in what you're doing, man.
Practice makes improvement. You can always better your best. You can always go beyond anything that you have ever done. You'll never hit a state of perfection. You're always bigger than what you do. And so all you're looking for are new breakthroughs through practice and practice and practice. You'll get better and better and better.
You become a drifter in life. In other words, you are like a rudderless ship. You are not going under your own power. You are letting the currents of life, of circumstance, of the opposition determine how you feel, how you think, what you experience.
I think it's believing in the 85-year-old version of you, who's exactly who you want to be, and then ruthlessly looking at the discrepancy between the pittance of a human that you are now compared to that man or that woman, and then step by step breaking down the many differences and starting on the first one and pulling the thread.
The idea that self-love is holding yourself to a higher standard than anyone else does, you believing in you more than anybody else does.
You get hungry by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us are born unique, but most of us die copies. You got to find out what is it that turns you on, what resonates with you. I speak to change lives because somebody spoke and changed my life. So this is my passion. This is my drive. This is something that I feel in my heart. And so the key to that hunger-driven life is a heart-centered life.
Move on. Straight up, move on. Forget them.
Lay hold of it. You lay hold of it. And when that thing tells you to quit, you look at it in his eye and say, I ain't going nowhere. I will break you before you break me. You will not defeat me. You will not destroy me. Some of you are so ignorant. You've been through so much hell. You gonna quit now? You should have quit 10 years ago. You should have been quit. You don't quit now. It's the 10th round. You got 2 more to go. And when you get to success, it's not about skill. When you get to a certain level of success, it's about stamina. It's about stamina. It's about you won't break lead. You can't take me. I fought too long. I fought too hard.
As life unfolds, life comes at you with so much. There's gonna be certain seasons in life to where you're in a season of just enduring. You just gotta endure right now, right? Whatever you're going through, sometimes you're in that season of, man, it's time to endure. Those things are necessary so you can become a different version of yourself and you can grow and learn from these experiences. So one day you can go back where somebody else is going through something and you can share it.
But in terms of you framing acceptance as saying that I am comfortable with who I am and I cannot be better and I must be satisfied with that, is the biggest embodiment of failure that I can imagine. There's a difference between saying I am good enough and I am good. So you could say, I am good enough for my current state based on the work that I've put into it, but I could be better. You can accept that the work that you have done has created the outcome that you've created, but you do not need to accept that the outcome that you've created is the end-all be-all and the last outcome that you need to have.
This is a version of dying into your old self so that something new can be born, right? You have to surrender. If you cannot submit, you cannot die. If you cannot die, you cannot be reborn. And this is what happens during an experience of awe. And that's why it can be terrifying until you learn to surrender, until you learn to let go.
If you're feeling helpless right now, become helpful. You can't simultaneously be helpful and helpless. You know, if you're feeling anxiety, fear, helplessness, you know that's your ego, because it's about you. You've made it about you. If you can get out of you and serve someone else.
There's no such thing as anyone starts life, behind the start line. I look at myself as equal to everyone that I'm in a room with, and the separation between where I want to go and where I am is my work ethic. So my mindset is always that anybody can be great. I want to be the greatest ever for what I do. So everything I touch, everything I pour my time and talent into, I don't think about being great. I think about how can I be the greatest? And that takes a huge amount of introspection. It takes a huge amount of self-reflection and honesty. And it also takes humility, because you have to ask for help in order to be the greatest.
You become one with the universe, right? You are part of the universe, but guess what? The universe is a part of you. You have Carl Sagan's notion that I am a way for the cosmos to know itself. And this is recontextualization of the self, blasts new tunnels between the mind and the other. It ticks the box of Tolstoy in the sense that you find a way of bridging the finite with the infinite. And that is what a mystical experience is.
But you were born to do something great with your life. And that's easy to forget when you're going, I'm in scarcity mode, I need to survive. I mean, that sounds great, Ed, but like, you don't understand. I'm unemployed. I've got rent that I'm gonna have to start paying again. I understand that, and I'm saying one of the pathways out is you remind yourself, I was born to do something great, big ways and small ways. And some of the smallest great things you will ever do in your life are the most important.
Think about the archetype of a superhero. They always have an obstacle to overcome. There's always the height of climax. And I don't believe that I'm so great that I don't, have the ability to go through difficult circumstances. I think it's necessary in order to realize your greatness. Because when you're tested, you are given the ability to have a testimony. So you can't have a testimony without a test. And just, in my life, I've been tested significantly. And each time, I've developed a new skill set or a new muscle to help me run this race.
You react to thoughts, that's a fact. Here's another great fact. You can change your thoughts anytime you like. And if you change your thinking, it changes your entire life. So for instance, we're all saying, I'm stuck at home. I'm safe at home. You change one little word, it changes everything. So we're not stuck, we're not locked in, we're not trapped, we're not in prison. It's not an apocalypse. It's not Armageddon, but if you start to use those words, it begins to feel exactly as if it is that case.
An experience of awe and rapture or poetic rhapsody ticks all these boxes: feelings of interconnection, feelings of communion with the infinite, feelings that you are part of something larger than yourself, feelings of ecstatic well-being, feelings of a noetic truth that's deeper than the literal grid of the everyday. If an experience ticks all those boxes, that is considered a mystical experience. And we know that that is healing. People suffering from treatment-resistant depression and treatment-resistant anxiety are given a single dose of psilocybin psychedelic mushrooms in a controlled environment with 2 therapists in the room. If they have a mystical experience, which a large majority of them do, they are healed of their existential distress. They no longer meet the criteria of depression and/or anxiety. Why? Because the whole story of who and what they are has been transformed.
But I must say, everyone, we're 3-4 weeks into this. And it's time now, if you have it, to begin to create these structures around you again. It's time to be growing. It's time to be engaging again. For me, it's about creating more structure when the world isn't giving it to me. I need to create more. So I'm crazy. I'm getting up a half hour earlier than I normally do. Why? Because I know everybody else is getting up an hour or 2 later. And it's just another thing. I wake up, I go, I'm doing things not everybody's willing to do.
And your greatest enemy is your inner me. It's the conversation you have in your mind. So the battle that's within is greater than the battle that's in the world. So once you're able to fight that consistently and calm yourself and control yourself and be methodical and specific about how you respond, nothing will surprise you. You're immovable at that point. You won't waver. You won't break.
Take a journal, do it in your phone in the notes, or do it in your journal or on a pad. and write down the stuff you do on a daily basis, hour by hour. And then go through it and literally look at the stuff, as simple as it sounds. Look at the stuff and say, is everything on this list drive me towards being a better version of myself, or more wealth if that's what you want, or being a better dad is what I obsess on, or being a better family man, or being more conscious, being more spiritual? Like, does it help God, the universe, or a bigger version of me? And if it doesn't, should it really be something that's on my list?
They say the beginning of a personal crisis is when the story you tell yourself about yourself is no longer convincing, right? But you have an experience of awe. You have an experience of opiated adjacency. You have an experience that blasts new tunnels between yourself and the other. You have an experience of radical cosmic recontextualization when you connect with something larger than yourself. You have Campbell's apotheosis, right? And you are born anew.
What does this mean to me? And can I change the meaning? If I can change the meaning, it will change my life, because the meaning is yours to change. The way you feel about everything is down to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words. The way you feel about everything, every minute of every day, is only down to two things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say. But you could make that even simpler and say, forget about the pictures, because the words make the picture.
A young man reveres men of genius because, to speak truly, they are more himself than he is. And that is the perfect sort of way to think about being young and trying to build a mindset for yourself, is that, when you read the great philosophers or just the great thinkers about anything, what is so enlightening about them is that they knew how to say these things.
If you want to be the greatest at something, you have to be open to improving. There's no way around it. You can't say, I'm good, I'm done, that's it, I'm the best ever, and I don't have to develop a new skill set. Nah, man, every day I'm searching for ways to add to my game.
Precisely, with clarity, do you want in this area of your life? What do you want? What is your ideal vision for yourself with health and fitness? What does your ideal love relationship look like? Find the courage within you to ask for what you really want, because that's the only way you're going to get it. You know how few people have a concept of what their highest self looks like in every important area? I mean, that is a massively valuable thing.
That's F. Scott Fitzgerald's notion of a transitory enchanted moment in which man must have held his breath, compelled into an aesthetic contemplation he neither understood nor desired, face to face for the last time in history with something commensurate to our capacity for wonder. The alternative to this, to say no to that, to shy away from that, the alternative is a bummer. The alternative is unconsciousness. The alternative is the default setting. The alternative is the rat race, the constant gnawing sense to have had and lost some infinite thing.
You're running away from pain and that's your driver. Great, use it. Actually feel the pain more. Don't ignore it and live a life of status quo or even a life of struggle because of that. In fact, let the pain sink in and let it be your driver.
So what do I believe? What do I want? Why do I want that? What's the purpose behind that belief? What will I gain if I achieve it? And what will I lose if I don't?
Don't put your joy in the future. Find joy in the moment. Even if it's the most hard, labor-intensive work, demeaning work possible, find joy in that work. Look at your struggle as immersive empathy.
Take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. We have two primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them.
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable.
All of us are born with nothing, no skills, no knowledge, nothing. We're a lump of flesh that can hardly hold our own head up. We can't take care of ourselves. And our job isn't to be great today.
Our job is to build ourselves brick by brick.
Always having the end of the movie in my head and then filling in the script. I just had to write the script, and the script might change. There might be, call an audible and you might have to rewrite the script, but the end of the script was always the same.
Self-doubt, worry, procrastination, overthinking, analysis paralysis, fear. Those are all thinking patterns that are habits. One of the most important things that I want people to understand is that you're actually not a worrier. You have a habit of worrier.
If you're not defined by a vision of the future, you're left with the memories of the past. And people literally believe in their past more than they believe in their future. That's why they talk about their past more than they talk about their future. People romance their past and more in love with their past than they are in love with the future. And people who actually create amazing things in their life just were more in love with their future, and they kept it alive in mind.
It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice.
Still time on the clock. So what experience? He's like, oh man, I would never see myself doing that. But the courageous people, they do that. Yes. Yes, you can.
A lot of us are sitting around waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel courageous, waiting to feel confident, waiting for the right time, and that's not ever coming, ever. Is that, yeah, motivation is great if you feel motivated. It's a losing bet to wait to feel ready. I want everybody to understand that, first of all, you can't control the things that trigger you, and the fact that you're going to feel afraid and you're going to feel doubt and you're going to feel uncertain. You can always interrupt that feeling and take control in the moment and actually shift what is thinking and shift how you behave.
See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I could get me out of this. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
You don't want to be secure, you want to be strong. And you get strong by taking on optimal challenges. And so you lay out your destiny in the world, and you take the slings and arrows of fate, and you make yourself stronger while you're doing so. And you might fail, and fortune might do you in, but it's your best bet.
Cause is greater than effect. When people live at cause, what do I mean by that? Well, you know someone is living at cause in their life when they have the results that they want.
That is what separates the truly greats from everyone else. They're willing to put in that hard work. They're willing to reframe the question from what's the least I can do to what's the most I can bear. And when you're looking at yourself on that long timeline and you're saying, what can I accomplish over the next 10 years? What is the amount of suffering and back-breaking work that I'm willing to put in and endure in order to become something extraordinary? That's the key, is you actually have to perform.
You're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. You might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking. And if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years, you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
Once you get over the fear of being embarrassed, no one likes to be embarrassed. But once you get over being scared of being embarrassed, it's super liberating. And it allows you to go into lanes that otherwise you wouldn't go into.
And when rock bottom hits, you don't have to hit with a thud.
Oftentimes when you hit bottom, you bounce. And that's where I think the power is. When the world feels upside down, you always have the power to make it right. When one chapter ends, you always have the power to write a new one. When, you feel like nobody loves you, you have the power to learn how to love yourself. When you are forced to pause and get present and to slow down, you are reminded of what's actually important.
A resilient person is capable of standing up to things in the face of fear and moving forward voluntarily, convinced of their own competence and ability to prevail.
Starting out terrible at something, incapable of something, and being willing to put in the work to grind it out to become that. And when people can move beyond the words, when they can transcend that and see what it means to actually put in work, like really put your head down and do the deep work of getting good at something, at getting away from all the bullshit of people's judgments and really just turning inside and wanting to get good, of asking yourself how far you can go, of becoming obsessed with that process.
You can decide that you're going to change. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. I'm in charge here. You can decide, I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me.
Anybody who believes anything other than this is all my responsibility, that I can change and get a different result. If you believe anything other than that, you're never going to reach your full potential. What are your goals? The only thing that you should believe or do is that which moves you towards your goals. So if lamenting and feeling broken inside because I was victimized by somebody is going to move me forward, then I will do it. But my gut is that'll take me to a dark place. It won't put me in a position to think and act and try to be strategic and make more useful decisions in the future. Rather than the problem is overwhelming, this problem is solvable. If people always start with that, this problem is solvable. Now we may disagree about how to solve the problem, but we're at least in the right frame of mind. There's not the hopelessness. There's not the, this is forever, we're stuck. It's, what can I do? How do I improve? How do I get myself out of this? People have been given sort of a general sense of how to think culturally that I don't think moves people towards their individual goals. And I just know that fulfillment requires you to do something hard, to build yourself, to become stronger, to become more resilient, to have meaning and purpose. We are hardwired to experience joy when we have meaning and purpose, and that we had to work hard for a set of skills that allow us to serve other people. It is innate. You'll never be able to get somebody to not feel good about that. So if we know that's an innate path, get people on that path, right? Know what your goal is, and then do and believe things and move people towards that goal. Where the other thing, to be cynical, to be pissed about what somebody else had, it's a dark place, man. Transform yourself into something that is truly undeniable, to become so good that they can't ignore you. The reason that we have taken over the globe in a way that no other species has is because we are the ultimate adaptation machine. Darwin is often misquoted as saying it's the strongest of the species that survived. He did not say that. What he said was it's neither the strongest of the species that survived nor the most intelligent, but rather the most adaptive to change. It is the animal that can change the fastest to a changing environment that becomes the most dominant species the world has ever seen. It is our very nature to change. That is what we are wired to do. If you look at human DNA, we have roughly 20,000 genes that encode traits. And for a long time, scientists disregarded all of the other, what they call junk DNA, that didn't encode for traits. But what we now know that junk DNA is epigenetic signaling. It is the thing that makes us extraordinary. It's the thing that says, in this environment, respond like this. So you can go to the gym and bust your ass and train your body and change your physique. And we've all seen it happen with bodybuilders. We all get that they came out of the womb weak just like everybody else, and they put themselves under an ungodly amount of stress and strain, and they push themselves every day, and they have this just unimaginable amount of discipline. And from that, they are able to transform themselves into somebody completely unrecognizable. It is amazing. And because it happens on the outside, we all get it, we all believe in it. We look at athletes and we understand that they work their way there. But we don't look at Gary Kasparov and realize he did the same thing, because what's happening in the mind seems invisible. We can't see it, we don't understand what's happening. What you build your self-esteem around matters. And whether you realize it or not, each and every one of you has something that sits at the core of how you feel about yourself. And from that, your identity, your sense of self-worth, your self-esteem, it is all built around that thing, because you cannot make change until you acknowledge where you're actually at. If you understand where you're weak, then you know where to spend your time building skills. To me, the gap between where you are now and where you want to go is a gap of skill set. As Nassim Taleb says, things that are robust, that are strong, that are tough, that can take just a lot of abuse before they break, they are still ultimately defined by their breaking point. Something that is anti-fragile, on the other hand, is something that the more you attack it, the more it is pounded on, the stronger it gets.